Noah, we are back for another season of AU Nation.
Yeah, we are. It's glad to have you back from all your various trips and shenanigans, Evan.
Well, you know, I came back for you. I did it for the tax write-off for this charity case of a show.
Let's go.
Hey now. Hey now, welcome to AU Nation. Each week we bring together members of the Auburn Student Media Group and discuss the latest topics in sports. I'm Evan Blank. Thanks to our producer, JJ Jackson, and our co-host, Carter Gustin, who couldn't join us today because he already went down to Houston for the big game this Sunday. On today's show, we'll discuss Super Bowl 51, debate Gus Malzahn's tenure at Auburn, discuss some drama up in the Windy City, and finally, play some AU Nation trivia.
Hello, I'm Noah Gardner. Now let's introduce today's panel of experts. Our first guest today is Eli Hiskey. He is a sports writer for the Plainsman. Eli, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm excited to be on the show.
Hey man, excited to have you back. I remember the old days at Weagle when we used to have a show together, so it's good to have you back. Our other expert today is Keith Gamble. He also is an Eagle Eye TV sports analyst. Keith, how are you?
Doing well, glad to be here. Thank y'all for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to it.
Hey man, it's great to have you back.
All right, guys, Super Bowl 51 is now just days away as the New England Patriots take on the Atlanta Falcons in a battle of high-octane offenses. There's no shortage of storylines heading into this game. First up, does Matt Ryan need to win Super Bowl 51 to be considered an elite quarterback?
I think this all depends on your definition of an elite quarterback. In my mind, I think elite, you can talk about elite in the league right now or elite all time, and I think this question is kind of going towards elite all time, and I think, yes, you have to win the Super Bowl to win, to be an elite quarterback. This is his fifth season being in the postseason, and, when you're in the postseason that much, you got to end up winning at least one or two Super Bowls. Winning makes it an elite quarterback, so that's the way I look at it. You got to win to make that status.
I think to kind of fix his legacy as being, quote-unquote, a choker, he's got to win it this year, but then again, the Patriots are one of two teams that Matt Ryan has never beaten in his career, and so he's kind of got the worst draw possible for a Super Bowl, and I still think he's had an elite season in terms of statistics, and you can bring up Joe Flacco. It's kind of like he's not an elite quarterback, but he's won a Super Bowl, so it's really kind of ambiguous, but I think this goes a long way for fixing his legacy and putting him in a position to be remembered as an elite quarterback, especially if he can win a Super Bowl.
I definitely think it really depends on what your definition of elite is. I think elite needs to be a higher up category. Like, people toss around Joe Flacco as being elite, like you said, when he won a Super Bowl. I don't think he's even close to being elite. I think right now there's probably just four right now: Brady, Roethlisberger, Rodgers, and Breeze. And I think if Matt Ryan was able to win the Super Bowl, he'd definitely open up the discussion for him becoming one of those elite quarterbacks. I think Derek Carr is starting to open the door in terms of that, but I think definitely if he wants to have any chance at it, he needs to win.
Well, I think elite requires consistency.
Yes.
And it's something that Matt Ryan hasn't had is consistency, and so if he can replicate this, it can go a long ways to be remembered as elite, but this is just the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, now we look at the other side coming into this game. We've had a lot of great coach-quarterback combos over the years in the NFL, but this weekend, if the Patriots win, is the debate over, done with, for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick to be considered the best quarterback-coach combo of all time?
I think hands down the discussion is over. I mean, 15 years of dominance, 5 Super Bowl wins and 7 trips, I don't think it's even a question.
I mean, it's been over for me. I firmly believe that Tom Brady's just a little bit over Joe Montana for the past couple of seasons now. You just look at the success he's had in the modern era, and it's unprecedented, so I think it's over now. But if they win it this time, it's for sure. You can put a nail in the coffin.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. They've already been to 6, the two of them, and won 4 of them. I mean, I think even if they lose this one, 4 championships alone and 7 appearances is just unbelievable. So I completely agree with both of you guys.
Yeah, definitely got to be up there. If not best, he's definitely 2 or 3 if you really want to push it, depending on who you want to put up there. But guys, let's go to the social scene of the Super Bowl. A big part of the big game is the food at your local Super Bowl party. What do you think is the best Super Bowl food?
I think chips and guac. That's been my go-to. It's something I picked up in college a little bit more. Try to feel a little bit healthy, getting the avocado in there. But, that's what I've got. Just a little bit better than the wings and the sliders, but it's a nice little light snack. So that's my go-to.
I'm going to be honest, I'm going with wings.
All right.
I might be a little mainstream here, but I think some nice honey barbecue wings or some mild wings, that'll go a long way, and it can last me the whole game, so I'm definitely going with wings.
I'm going to stick with appetizers and go buffalo chicken dip. I just think it's incredible. I could eat it all day. Honestly, that's all I really need at a Super Bowl party. I'll just need a bag of chips and some buffalo chicken dip, and I'm set.
Hey, let's put it all together.
No, yeah, it's a cholesterol explosion on Sunday. This is where Americans really earn their status as the fattest nation in the world. All right, guys, let's button it back up here, though. Prediction time. Who is going to win this game on Sunday and why?
I'm not one to bet against Belichick and Brady, but I have a weird feeling that Sunday the Falcons are going to pull this one out. Maybe that's because we live 2 hours away and I now surround myself with Falcons fans. It's a little biased,
Well, they're
but
coming out of the woodworks.
right, exactly. But this defense, while it ranked in the lower third in total defense and passing defense throughout the regular season, it has played a lot better these last two games in the postseason. It's actually had 5 sacks in just those 2 games alone. So if they can get to Brady, because as great as Brady is, he's not going to extend the play and move the pocket nearly as much as Rodgers is. So if you can get pressure on him and make a few plays on defense, I like to think that Matt Ryan and Julio Jones are going to move the ball enough to score enough points. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's whatever defense makes enough plays, and I just have a feeling the Falcons are going to make enough plays, and I think they win by, let's say, 3 points.
I honestly don't believe it's going to be a shootout. You kind of see this in college football and in the NFL. You expect a high-scoring game, and the defenses come out and play lights out, especially when you've got 2 weeks to prepare. That really benefits the defense as opposed to the offense. Offense wants to keep playing week to week to week to stay hot. Defense, on the other hand, is going to have some time to prepare, and I think that's going to go a long way. As you look at the 5 Super Bowls, the top-scoring offense has played against the top-scoring defense. 4 of those 5, the top-scoring defenses came out on top. Defense wins championships, and Bill Belichick's an innovator of defense. Give me the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet against the Patriots either. I think if they're not going to be able to completely limit Julio Jones, but I think the key is stopping Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. If they can just limit them out of the backfield, I think it takes away one facet of the explosive offense, and I'm very willing to put the ball in Brady's hands in whatever situation.
All right, guys, we know one thing. Super Bowl 51 is sure to be a treat. We're going to talk a little bit of Auburn football after the break. Stay with us.
I hope that you've been able to learn a strong work ethic surrounded by character, integrity, perseverance, so that when your 1 second comes, you'll be prepared for it.
Chris Davis.
45, there goes Davis!
Your 1 second, our 1 second is now. And our lives have been guided by the principles of one of the greatest academic institutions in the country, Auburn University.
Welcome back to AU Nation, and we turn now to a little local business, Auburn Tiger football. Auburn ended the 2016 season with an 8-5 record and a disappointing loss in the Sugar Bowl to Oklahoma. Offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley bolted for UConn, and Arizona State's Chip Lindsey was hired as his replacement. A lot has happened for Gus Malzahn and Auburn football program since our last episode. Gentlemen, after 3 consecutive seasons of falling short of 9 wins and a disappointing bowl game performances, is Gus Malzahn capable of leading a consistent title contender?
I don't know if he's able to. I think this is really his last chance. We have a couple good quarterback prospects, new offensive coordinator. We have great talent in the wide receiver corps. And I think if he isn't able to put up consistent offensive performances, then I think we might need a change. I'm hesitant to say that because we're just now getting a new offensive coordinator, and it might take some time for his offensive system to come into place, but I really think this is his last straw. I mean, we saw last year just all over the board offensive performances could either be like what we expect, and they were fantastic against Mississippi State, or they're just awful when we throw up duds, and I really think it's time for a change if we can't get something more consistent.
I think it depends on the definition of consistent. In terms of success, and this goes back to the Nick Saban effect. Nick Saban has kind of created this condition where it's consistent to go to the playoff every year, or to go to the national championship 5 of 7 seasons, or whatever it is now for him. And I think that's unrealistic. This is an unprecedented, stint of success that any coach has ever had. For a guy like Gus Malzahn, I think it is realistic to believe that he can put together success consistently year in and year out. If he can get the right guys in there, which I think he's got the right guys in there, I think it's unfathomable to believe that you can expect Auburn to go to the playoffs every year or that they can go and compete in championships every year. That's just not going to happen. You compare Auburn recruiting to some of the other upper echelon teams in the SEC, it's just not stacking up. The players, there's going to be up and downs every year, and I think Gus has done a good job of building from that 6-win year, taking Auburn where they were this past year, fighting through the injuries. I mean, a lot of things happened this season that really kind of derailed the season where Auburn was looking pretty good. So I think next year, like you're right, that's a deciding factor for him. But I'm expecting a great year next year for Auburn and for the ship to really be righted.
I like the point you make about Alabama and Coach Saban. I think being the coach at Auburn right now is arguably the hardest coaching job in the country due to the fact that across the state you have the most dominant dynasty in the history of college football right now. So yeah, expectations are a little bit unrealistic in my opinion. I completely agree. However, I think next season all the pieces are in place for you to contend. I mean, especially with Braden Smith coming back now on offense, I mean, that's huge on the O-line. So that's really what hurt us from 2013 to 2014 and that drop-off season right there. And also, Gus couldn't even predicted what happened at the quarterback position with Jeremy Johnson.
Yep.
So while you got to blame a lot of that on coaching, you can't put all that on him. No one predicted that at all.
Well, on the flip side, he developed a guy like Sean White.
Right, exactly.
So to say that he can't develop quarterbacks, I think is a little off.
I completely agree. But with Stidham coming in with all the intangibles that he has, this has got to be the year. And, I mean, you lose Carl Lawson and Montrevious on defense, but they've been recruiting just crazy recruits at that D-line position with Rodney Garner. So I think next year, if he don't do it next year, I don't think we're going to be a playoff team under Gus Malzahn.
Well, we certainly know one thing. Next season, all eyes will be on the Plains. Thank you, gentlemen. But coming up, we have our first trivia game of Season 3. Is Noah Gardner the man to beat again this season? Find out after the break. It's Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Hey, welcome back to AU Nation. Let's answer some trivia questions. Each panelist will get 4 questions worth 1 point each. The 5th question will be asked to all the panelists and is worth 3 points. In the end, I'm just going to give away points whenever I feel like it because that's what I do because it's, my show. This is all very exciting. I have the paper to prove the questions are in hand. Let's get started, friends. Buckle up. Keith, we begin with you. Are you ready?
I've never been more ready.
Where was the NHL All-Star Game played this season?
Oh, gosh. Got me on the... No, last year's answer is Nashville, Tennessee, but this year I'm going to have to pass up on this one. I'm not sure.
No, Keith, limping out of the gate. Not great. Noah, we go right down the line to you. Which NFL quarterback is publicly mulling retirement after his team was eliminated from the playoffs?
Ben Roethlisberger.
Ding, ding. Noah, first on the board. Eli, let's see if you can tie him up. Which NFL team fired their general manager last week?
Ooh. Who was it? I'm going to say, just a shot in the dark, was it the Bills?
It was not. It was the Indianapolis Colts. Noah leads 1-0 as we head to round 2. Keith, back to you. True or false? Russell Westbrook was named a starter for the Western Conference All-Star team.
False.
All right, Keith, on the board. Let's see if Noah can get this wrong to tie it up and make it interesting. Noah, Steph Curry showed up big time in ABC's primetime game against the Clippers. Curry scored 43 points in the game. How many three-pointers did he make?
I'm going to go with 10.
Oh, so close. It was 9. 1 off. Eli, let's see if you can make it interesting and tie it up at 1 apiece. On Sunday in Atlanta, the Hawks and Knicks combined to score 281 points in a game that went to multiple overtimes. How many overtimes were played?
That would be 4.
Ding, ding. We are knotted up at 1 apiece as we head into round 3. Keith, where was the NFL Pro Bowl played this year?
Oh, gosh. I should know this.
Then again, who watches the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a big Pro Bowl guy, so I'm going to have to pass up on this one.
No,
So.
Keith, not strong in the locations of events this year. That event was in Orlando. Noah, the AFC won the Pro Bowl 20-13. The NFC had 2 field goals from Matt Prater, and their only touchdown was caught by an NFC West wide receiver. What is his name?
You said NFC West wide receiver?
It is an NFC West wide receiver.
Baldwin.
No, you pulled that out of somewhere and take the lead. 2-1. Eli, let's see if you can get your second point. The oldest player on either NBA All-Star team this year is 32 years old. Who is he?
LeBron James, the king.
Ding, ding. Eli and Noah going down to the wire. Keith, let's see if you can tie these guys up as we begin. Round 4. Saturday was the SEC Big 12 Challenge in college hoops. How many wins did the SEC get in the challenge?
I'm going to go with 5.
Oh, Keith coming in clutch. There it is. 2-2-2. But Noah and Eli still have a question, and there's still that 3-point final question hanging out there. Noah, this former NFL head coach is expected to join ESPN as a Super Bowl 51 analyst. Who is he?
Rex Ryan.
Yes, sir, it is. Eli, Bruce Arena's second stint as coach of the U.S. men's national soccer team ended in a 0-0 draw. Who was the U.S. playing?
Serbia.
All right. So the scores as we head into the final question. Keith, 2. Noah, 3. Eli, 3. But Keith, you can make it up here if these two decide to get this final question wrong. The final question will go right down the line. Keith, Noah, and Eli. For 3 points in NCAA men's basketball, how many top 25 teams lost last week? A massacre. Keith, what is your answer?
I'm going to say 9.
Noah.
I'm going to go with 12.
Eli.
Just so I don't lose to Noah, I'm saying 12 too.
Well, 0 for 3. The answer was 14 schools lost last week. Bloody, bloody weekend in NCAA men's basketball. So the final tallies, Noah 3, Eli 3, Keith bringing up the rear with 2. So while Noah sort of won, it's in a tie this time, but there you go. Congrats to you two for tying, Noah and Eli. Things are dramatic right now in Windy City. That is what's up next on AU Nation Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
This is a place where it only takes a second to imagine your future. Grasp a new concept in class. Inspire a child's curiosity. Discover a real-world solution. Seize an unexpected opportunity.
There goes Davis.
This is where you gain the preparation, confidence, and determination to succeed. This is Auburn.
Welcome back to AU Nation. We close out the show, as we always do, with our burning question. A lot is happening right now in the Chicago Bulls organization. Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler expressed their complaints to the media, wanting fellow Bulls teammates to care more after losses, and they got a lot of them this season. Rajon Rondo responded by posting on Instagram saying that his veterans in Boston, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, would never go to the media. Wade liked this post on Instagram, and this led to an awful week for the Bulls. Who is more at fault here, guys? Is it Butler and Wade, or does Rondo get some of the blame too?
I mean, I think it's harsh to point fingers at any one person in this saga, because I'm thinking the whole Bulls organization is at blame right now. It's not just the players right now. Obviously, I don't think that Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler should have been as public about the comments that they made about the team's effort. But at the same time, Rajon Rondo shouldn't have also gone back to the media. It can appear quite hypocritical. And then also, if you look at his reputation, nobody's going to give Rajon Rondo the benefit of the doubt. It's not like he didn't say anything that wasn't true. Okay, you look at the Instagram post, Rondo didn't say anything that wasn't true. I kind of feel bad for Rondo in this whole situation in Chicago. But he should have known, based off of his reputation, this was not going to work out well for him. And I think that's why Rondo's getting a lot of the blame right now, but really it should be assigned equally to all.
Yeah, no, I think definitely the players should have just kept this under wraps. This is a locker room issue. This isn't one of those times where it's okay to go public, which is very rare, especially when it's locker room talk. And I think Dwayne Wade was just trying to take a page out of his buddy LeBron James's book, who has called players out publicly before, but this time with Wade, it just wasn't the right situation, wasn't the right time. And Rondo shouldn't have gone back to the media again. That's, like you said, hypocritical, but I definitely think it's all three of their issues, and I think it's an issue that they need to resolve within the locker room. But right now, it's just the biggest story in the league, and that's just unfortunate for the Bulls.
Yeah, I think Rondo is really at fault here. While I agree that Dwayne Wade and Butler could have handled the situation better, I think Rondo just threw gasoline on a fire and made it 10 times worse than it needed to be. And his argument, he's talking about Paul Pierce being a veteran. When Paul Pierce was on that team with Rondo, he was 30 years old and been in the league for 10 years. Rajon Rondo is 30 years old and has been in the league for 10 years. So he should be considered a veteran, in which case he should handle this himself in the locker room like veterans do and bring the team together. And I mean, I just think that him going publicly and not going to Butler and Wade directly was a huge mistake. And I think he just made a bad situation a lot worse.
Yeah, guys, but coach Fred Hoiberg is now in his second season as the head coach of the Bulls. Came right out of college, you'll remember, over from Iowa State. He doesn't really appear to have total control of the locker room right now. Should Fred Hoiberg be fired?
He should have never been hired. I thought that this was a really bad move from the get-go. You took one of the biggest offensive minds in college basketball, had really no concept of defense at Iowa State, at least not in my opinion. That was not one of the better defensive teams in the nation. And you bring it to a team that's really built on defense and a slower brand of basketball in the NBA. And while it is a dying art form, I don't think that's the guy you bring in. But he's a college coach. He didn't have that much success in terms of NCAA tournament. He wasn't proven to me. And sometimes college coaches just should stay in college. This is amateur hour in Chicago from a head coach, and I think he needs to be canned. He's one of the biggest problems with the Chicago Bulls organization right now. It's time to scrap it with Hoiberg and Rondo, turn back the clock 2 years, let's get things going again.
Then his offensive genius isn't even paying off. They're 24th in scoring offense. They're like not putting up any points. Their points allowed is the exact same as their points scored. And so clearly whatever he's trying to do with the organization isn't working. So I think, yeah, he needs to go.
I agree there's been some problems. They would make the playoffs if the season ended today. They're 7th in the East right now. So I think hold off a little bit on firing him just yet. I think if this story keeps developing with Rondo and Butler and they just keep having internal issues, then I think that's a much larger issue that needs to be addressed. But I think right now, while the East isn't great, they still make the playoffs. So that's got to count for something.
But is the 7th seed really something that Chicago should be aiming for?
No, but a first-year head coach, I think playoffs is usually, that's...
This is the second season.
Yeah, okay, second season, that's, still.
I think there's no excuse for what you're saying. In the NBA, you see turnarounds very quickly like this. Canning coaches, I think this is amateur hour.
All right, well, we'll see how this Bulls saga continues to play out. It's an ever-evolving situation, so we'll see how that goes. Thanks, guys. And gentlemen, thank you for being on the show today. It was just a great one. And folks, we will be back next week right here on AU Nation Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.